पदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। जयो जयो गौरचंदे आरती कशोभा। कि बजयो गौरचंदे आरती कशोभा। जानवी तटवने जगमनलोभा। जानवी तटवने जगमनलोभा। कि बदाखी निताय चार मामे गदधारा। कि बदाखी निकते अद्वैत श्रीनि वासचत्रधारा निकते अद्वैत श्रीनि वासचत्रधारा किबबुषि अचे गोरचान रत्न सिंहासना किबबुषि अचे गोरचान रत्न सिंहासना आरती कोरेन ब्रह्म आदिदेवगाने आरती कोरेन ब्रह्म आदिदेवगाने किबनरा हरि आदि कोरी क्षमर धुलाया किबनरा हरि आदि कोरी क्षमर धुलाया संजय मुकुंद बासु घोषादि गाया संजय मुकुंद बासु घोषादि गाया किब शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करता किब शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला माधुरा मृदङ्ग बाजे परमरसाला मधुर मृदङ्ग बाजे परमरसाला शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे 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 गौरांगी आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरांगी आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरांगी आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा जग जन मन लोभा जग जन मन लोभा जग जन मन लोभा निता गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निता गौर हरि बोल निता गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निता गौर हरि बोल कि बाबा हो कोटि चंद्रजीनी वदन उज्ज्वला कि बाबा हो कोटि चंद्रजीनी वदन उज्ज्वला गालदेशे बाणमाला कोरे झलमाला गालदेशे बाणमाला कोरे जलमाला किव शिवा शुक नारदा प्रेमे गदगादा किव शिवा शुक नारदा प्रेमे गदगादा भाकती विनोद देखे गोरार संपाद भाकती विनोद देखे गोरार संपादा किब जयो जयो गौरचंदे आरती शोभा किब जयो ओ जय गौरचंदे आरती शोभा जानवी तटवने जगमन लोभा जानवी तटवने जगमन लोभा Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadrama Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Sitaram 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 Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा जय गुरुदेवा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा नित गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित गौर हरि बोल नित गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Mic petto. Mic petto.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hey Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Bolo Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Haribo. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Bolo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Bolo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Nitya Gora Hari Bol Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nitya Gaura Premanandi Ki Jai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Today we are going to hear about the different offenses that one must avoid. One must avoid doing, so that you do not become a blasphemer of Krishna. So number one, and the worst offense, is to make an offense to a pure devotee, is one of the 10 offenses against the holy name. The first offense is to blaspheme the great devotees who have tried to spread the glories of the holy name all over the world. The greatest offender at the feet of the holy name is the rascal who is envious of such devotees. The holy name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna himself, and Lord Krishna cannot tolerate offenses against a pure devotee who, following the order of his spiritual master, is spreading the holy name all over the world. The second offense is to deny that Lord Vishnu is the absolute truth, since there is no difference between the Lord and his name, qualities, form, and pastimes, or activities, one who sees a difference is considered an offender. The Lord being supreme, no one is equal or greater than him. Consequently, one who thinks that the name of some demigod is equal to the Lord's name is an offender. The Supreme Lord and the demigods should never be considered on the same level. The third offense is to consider the bona fide spiritual master to be a common man. The fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature. The Vedas and such corollaries are the Puranas. The fifth offense is to consider, okay, the children have to be taken out, please. The fifth offense is to consider the glories of the holy name to be exaggerations. The sixth offense is to imagine a perverted meaning of the holy name. The seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. It is understood that by chanting the holy name, one is freed from sinful reactions. But this does not mean that one should perversely act sinfully on the strength of chanting the holy name. That is the gravest offense. The eighth offense is to equate chanting the holy name with the religious rituals, austerity and renunciation, or sacrificial performances. Chanting the holy name of the Lord is as good as associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas these pious activities are only means of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they can also be performed for some material reason, it is an offense to equate them with chanting the holy name of the Lord. The ninth offense is to preach the glories of the holy name of God to a faithless person. The 10th and last offense is to maintain material attachments even after hearing and chanting the holy name of God. The idea is that by chanting the holy name without offense, one is elevated to the liberated platform, where one is freed from all material attachments. Thus, if one chants the holy names and still has material attachments, he is committing an offense. There are still other factors which can disturb the plant of devotional service. As a plant grows, the weeds of the material desires may also grow. When a person advances in devotional service, it is natural that many persons will come to him requesting to become disciples and will offer him some material gains. If one is attracted by a large number of disciples offering material conveniences and forgets his duty as a bona fide spiritual master, the growth of the plant will be impeded. Simply by taking advantage of material conveniences, one may become addicted to enjoying material comforts. Other impediments are to desire liberation or material name and fame by discharging devotional service, or to neglect the prohibitions. See, now, this whole idea of desiring liberation. That is actually a material desire. We should desire to serve Krishna, whether it's in this material world or whether it's in the spiritual world. We should not specifically desire to be in the spiritual world. The holy name is holy in the material world as it is in the spiritual world. So wherever you're chanting the holy name, you're connected to Krishna. So our real goal is to always serve Krishna with love and devotion. That can be in the material world, that can be in the spiritual world. There's nothing wrong or, let's say, less of to chant the Hare Krishna mantra in the material world as opposed to chanting the Hare Krishna mantra in the spiritual world. They're both equal. If one chants sincerely the name of Krishna in the material world, it's equal to chanting the holy name of Krishna in the spiritual world. Okay. When a person advances in devotional service, it is natural that many persons will come to him requesting to become disciples and will offer him some material gains. If one is attracted by a large number of disciples offering material conveniences and forgets his duty as a bona fide spiritual master, the growth of the plant will be impeded. In other words, it means the growth of spiritual purification will be impeded. Simply by taking advantage of material conveniences, one may become addicted to enjoying material comforts. Other impediments are to desire liberation or material name and fame by discharging devotional service, or to neglect the prohibitions. Those are things that we should never do, prohibitions. Meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, etc. These prohibitions are mentioned in the authorized scriptures. One should not indulge in illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, or meat eating. Indeed, one should not eat anything other than Krishna prasadam, food offered to Krishna. These are the restrictions for one who is attempting to advance in devotional service. If one does not follow these principles strictly, I'll just repeat that again. If one does not follow these principles strictly, then, let's see, where's that? These prohibitions are mentioned in the authorized scriptures. One should not indulge in illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, or meat eating. Indeed, one should not eat anything other than Krishna prasadam, food offered to Krishna. These are the restrictions for one who is attempting to advance in devotional service. If one does not follow these principles strictly, there will be a severe disturbance in the discharge of devotional service. If one is not particularly careful, by watering the plant of devotional service, one will instead nourish the weeds described above, which will then grow very luxuriously and hamper one's progress. The idea is that when one waters a garden, not only does the desired plant grow rapidly, but the unwanted plants grow also. If the gardener does not see these weeds and cut them down, they will overcome and choke the plant of devotion. It is thus the duty of the neophyte devotee to cut down all the weeds that may grow by the watering process of devotional service. If one is careful, In guard against the growth of these weeds, the plant of devotion will grow luxuriously and reach the ultimate goal, Goloka Vrindavana. When the living entity engaged in devotional service relishes the fruit of love of Godhead, he forgets all religious rituals aimed at improving his economic condition. He no longer desires to satisfy his senses, and he no longer desires to become one with the Supreme Lord by merging into his effulgence. There are many practices leading to spiritual knowledge and transcendental bliss, including the ritualistic sacrifices recommended in the Vedas, the execution of austerities and pious duties, and the practice of mystic yoga. These all reward different results to their performers, but all these rewards appear to glitter only as long as one is not elevated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Love of God is dormant in everyone, and it can be awakened from its dormant position by the execution of pure devotional service, just as a person bitten by a serpent and fallen unconscious can be revived by smelling ammonia. Did you know that? Now you know. If you go to a place where there are a lot of snakes, you should take some ammonia with you. After speaking in this way about pure devotional service, Lord Chaitanya began to describe that service and its symptoms to Rupa Goswami. He explained that in pure devotional service, there can be no desire other than the desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, there is no scope for worshiping any demigod or even any other form of Krishna. Nor is there room for indulgence in speculative empiric philosophy or fruitive activities. One should be free from all these contaminations. A devotee should accept only those things that are favorable for keeping his body and soul together, and should reject those things that increase the demands of the body. Only the bare necessities for bodily maintenance should be accepted. By making one's bodily necessities secondary, one can primarily devote his time to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness through the chanting of the holy names of God. Pure devotional service means engaging all one's senses in the service of the Lord. At the present moment, our senses are all designated because the body is designated. So we think that our body belongs to a particular society or a particular country or a particular family. In this way, the body is bound by so many designations. Similarly, the senses belong to the body, and when the body is subject to such designations, the senses are also. Thus, one engages the senses on behalf of family, society, nation, and so on. So see, this is a very important statement because we can be trapped by not engaging in pure devotional service. We can be engaged in spiritual activities, but not actually meant to please Krishna, but to be a part of a family identification or any other type of identification other than pure devotion for Krishna. So many times there are some devotees who get trapped by being more interested in serving their family or their relatives or the different types of movements there are that are not actually Krishna conscious. They may seem to be Krishna conscious, but they're not actually Krishna conscious. Okay, so here it says, after speaking in this way about pure devotional service, Lord Chaitanya began to describe that service and its symptoms to Rupa Goswami. He explained that in pure devotional service there can be no desire other than the desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, there is no scope for worshiping any demigod or even any other form of Krishna, nor is there room for indulgence in speculative empiric philosophy or fruitive activities. One should be free from all these contaminations. A devotee should accept only those things that are favorable for keeping his body and soul together, and should reject those things that increase the demands of the body. Only the bare necessities for bodily maintenance should be accepted. By making one's bodily necessities secondary, one can primarily devote his time to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness through the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A devotee should accept only those things that are favorable for keeping his body and soul together, and should reject those things that increased the demands of the body. Only the bare necessities for bodily maintenance should be accepted. By making one's bodily necessities secondary, one can primarily devote his time to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness through the chanting of the holy names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Pure devotional service means engaging all one's senses in the service of the Lord. At the present moment, our senses are all designated because the body is designated. That means we identify with family, with friends, with different movements, with different types of philosophies and so forth. At the present moment, our senses are all designated because the body is designated. So we think that our body belongs to a particular society or a particular country or a particular family. In this way, the body is bound by so many designations. Similarly, the senses belong to the body. And when the body is subject to such designations, the senses are also. Thus, one engages the senses on behalf of family, society, nation, and so on. When the senses are so engaged, one cannot cultivate Krishna consciousness. See, that's a very important statement. The senses must be purified, and this is possible when one purely understands that he or she belongs to Krishna and that his life belongs to Krishna. In other words, that his identity is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. In this way, one can engage his senses in the service of the Lord, and such engagement is called pure devotional service. A pure devotee accepts the transcendental loving service of the Lord, but rejects all kinds of liberation for his personal sense gratification. This is stated by Lord Kapila in the Srimad Bhagavatam in his explanation of the nature of pure devotional service. As soon as a pure devotee hears the glories and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is seated in everyone's heart, his mind at once flows toward the Lord, just as the waters of the Ganges flow down toward the sea. Such spontaneous attraction of the devotee's mind to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead signifies pure devotional service. In other words, as soon as the devotee hears other people chanting Hare Krishna and taking part in the Harinam Sankirtan and also listening to classes given by devotees, immediately they are interested in hearing more and more about these spiritual, matters. He's not interested in going to the movies or watching the television or different types of nonsensical things that take the mind away from Krishna. Devotional service is pure when one engages in the service of the Supreme Lord without any selfish motive and without being hampered by any material impediments. The pure devotee does not desire to live on the same planet as the Supreme Lord. Nor does he desire the same opulence as the Lord, nor does he desire to have the same form as the Lord, nor to live with him side by side, nor to merge into his existence. Even if the Lord offers the pure devotee such rewards, he rejects them. The point is that a pure devotee is so much absorbed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord that he has no time to think of any benefit beyond his immediate engagements. Just as an ordinary materialistic businessman thinks of nothing else when he is absorbed in his business, a pure devotee, when engaged in the service of the Lord, does not think of anything beyond that engagement. One who possesses the symptoms described above has been elevated to the topmost position of devotional service. And it is by such transcendental loving service alone that one can surpass the influence of Maya and relish pure love of Godhead. As long as one desires material benefit or liberation, which are called the two witches of allurement, one cannot relish the taste of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord. Yeah, one time, a long time ago, there was a new devotee that came, and he wanted to get initiation by Srila Prabhupada. So usually what we did in those days, as we do today, he would write a personal letter from himself to Srila Prabhupada. Right? So he wrote a letter, but before he sent the letter, I asked him, let me see it. Let me see what you wrote. So he writes in the letter, Srila Prabhupada, I'm completely surrendered to you. My only desire is to always be with devotees, but my real desire is to be liberated. So when he showed me that, I said, "You can't write this letter to Prabhupada." He said, "Why not?" I said, "You're asking to be liberated. You don't have to ask Prabhupada to be liberated. He'll decide whether you're qualified to be liberated or not." I said, "You should simply write and glorify Prabhupada and all the good things he's done for you, right? He's given you the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He's given you the association of devotees. He's given you how to respect prasadam and all these things. Those are the things you should talk about. You shouldn't talk about being liberated, because that is something that will naturally happen. But if you ask for it, that means that it becomes a material desire. So, therefore, I told him, rewrite your letter and take out this thing about being liberated. A pure devotee accepts the transcendental loving service of the Lord, but rejects all kinds of liberation for his personal sense gratification. So there it is right there. He rejects all kinds of liberation for his personal sense gratification. This is stated in by Lord Kapila in the Srimad Bhagavatam in his explanation of the nature of pure devotional service. As soon as a pure devotee hears the glories and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart, his mind at once flows toward the Lord. Just as the waters of the Ganges flow down toward the sea, such spontaneous attraction of the devotee's mind to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead signifies pure devotional service. Devotional service is pure when one engages in the service of the Supreme Lord without any selfish motive and without being hampered by any material impediments. Okay, I'm going to ask you to please keep quiet. If you want to talk, you can go outside and talk. Okay, go on. The pure devotee accepts the transcendental loving service of the Lord, but rejects all kinds of liberation for his personal sense gratification. This is stated by Lord Kapila in Srimad Bhagavatam in his explanation of the nature of pure devotional service. As soon as a pure devotee hears the glories and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart, his mind at once flows toward the Lord, just as the waters of the Ganges flow down toward the sea. Such spontaneous attraction of the devotee's mind to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead signifies pure devotional service. So that is one way to recognize a genuine devotee. As soon as there's any possibility of hearing about Krishna, immediately the pure devotee will go and hear it and ask questions and be edified. Just like Srila Prabhupada, when he was not yet initiated, but he went to hear lectures by his future guru. And when he would always listen to his guru's lectures. One day, there was a possibility for the devotees to go on parikrama and see different holy places, and so almost all the devotees left to go to parikrama, but Prabhupada stayed. And why does he stay? Because he wanted to hear his guru preach, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So almost everybody left, but he stayed. And later on, Prabhupada said, I'm very pleased that you stayed. That means that you're very interested in becoming serious about Krishna consciousness. And what happened? Prabhupada became number one servant of His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, right? Because Prabhupada was very, very, let's say, anxious to hear more and more from a pure devotee. And that pure devotee became his guru. And he became purified and completely dedicated to spreading Krishna consciousness. A pure devotee accepts the transcendental loving service of the Lord, but rejects all kinds of liberation for his personal sense gratification. This is stated by Lord Kapila in Srimad Bhagavatam in his explanations of the nature of pure devotional service. As soon as a pure devotee hears the glories and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart, his mind at once flows toward the Lord, just as the waters of the Ganges flow down toward the sea. Such spontaneous attraction of the devotee's mind to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead signifies pure devotional service. Devotional service is pure when one engages in the service of the Supreme Lord without any selfish motive and without being hampered by any material impediment. The pure devotee does not desire to live in the same planet as the Supreme Lord, nor does he desire the same opulence as the Lord, nor does he desire to have the same form as the Lord, nor to live with him, meaning Krishna, side by side, nor to merge into his or Krishna's existence. Even if the Lord offers the pure devotee such rewards, he rejects them. The point is that such a pure devotee is so much absorbed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord that he has no time to think of any benefit beyond his immediate engagement. Just as an ordinary materialistic businessman thinks of nothing else when he is absorbed in his business, a pure devotee, when engaged in the service of the Lord, does not think of anything beyond that engagement. One who possesses the symptoms described above has been elevated to the topmost position of devotional service, and it is by such transcendental loving service alone that one can surpass the influence of Maya and relish pure love of Godhead. As long as one desires material benefit or liberation, which are called the two witches of allurement, in other words, let me read that again. As long as one desires material benefit or liberation, which are called the two witches of allurement, one cannot relish the taste of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord. So I think I told you this once before. Many years ago, there was a new devotee, and what we would do usually was we would ask devotees that were still not initiated to write a letter to Prabhupada and ask him to, give initiation, right? So this one devotee wrote a letter, and he was going to send it to Prabhupada. But I asked him, I said, show me that letter. I want to see what you wrote. So in that letter, most of the letter was about how much he wanted to be liberated and to have what you would call liberated. That was the main thing of his letter. He wanted to be liberated from the material world. So when I saw that, I said, "You can't send this letter to Prabhupada." He said, "Why not?" I said, "You're asking for a material benefit." He said, "It's not material, it's spiritual. I want to be liberated." I said, "No, that's a material desire. You should not desire anything that is what you would consider sense gratification. The only thing you should desire is service for Krishna and Prabhupada, and Guru." So he was like a little bit bewildered when I told him that. I said, "I want you to rewrite the letter and show me before you send it. But don't say that you want to be liberated." So he rewrote the letter, and he understood. He understood that that was a material desire to be liberated. It's better. The only desire we should have is to be always engaged in Krishna's service. Right? It doesn't matter whether we're serving in the material world, or we're serving in hell, or we're serving in the heavenly planets or in the spiritual world. But we should not think about being liberated. That's like a material desire, and it is not really pure devotional service. Okay. The ecstasy of transcendental love has two components: the context and the cause of the excitement. The context is also divided into two parts: the subject and the object. The exchange of devotional service is the subject, and Krishna is the object. His transcendental qualities are the causes of excitement. This means that a devotee who becomes enamored by the transcendental qualities of Krishna becomes excited to serve him. See, now that's a beautiful statement. Beautiful, beautiful statement. This means that a devotee who becomes enamored by the transcendental qualities of Krishna becomes excited to serve him. The impersonal Mayavadi philosophers say that the Absolute Truth is nirguna, without qualities. But the Vaishnava philosophers say that the Absolute Truth is described as nirguna because the Lord has no material qualities, but he has spiritual, transcendental qualities. This is not to say that the Lord has no spiritual qualities. Indeed, the Lord's spiritual qualities are so great and so enchanting that even liberated persons become attracted to him. This is explained in the Atmarana Rama verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is said that those who are already situated on the platform of self-realization are attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna. This means that Krishna's qualities are not material, but are pure and transcendental. So even devotees who are highly educated, they still become enamored and attracted by the supreme transcendental qualities of Krishna. The highest stage of ecstasy is characterized by the following 13 transcendental activities: dancing, rolling on the floor, singing, clapping, stretching the body, thundering, yawning, breathing heavily, forgetting social conventions, drooling, laughing, shaking the head, and hiccoughing. All these symptoms are not awakened simultaneously. They appear according to the exchange of transcendental mellows. Sometimes one symptom is prominent, and at another time, another is prominent. There are 5 transcendental rasas, or mellows. The initial stage is called Sandhya Aarti, wherein one who is liberated from material contamination appreciates the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who attains this stage does not exactly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, for this is the neutral stage. In the second stage, which is called Dasya Aarti, a person appreciates his position as being everlastingly subordinate to the Supreme Lord, and he understands that he is eternally dependent on the causeless mercy of the Supreme Person. At that time, there is an awakening of natural affection, such as is felt by a son who grows up and begins to appreciate his father's benedictions. At this stage, the living entity wants to serve the Supreme Lord instead of serving Maya or illusion. The third stage is the development of transcendental love and is called Sakya Aarti. In this stage, one associates with the Supreme Lord as a friend on an equal level with love and respect. As this stage is further developed, there is joking and such relaxed exchanges as laughing. On this level, there are fraternal exchanges with the personality of Godhead, and one is free from all bondage. One forgets his inferior position as a living entity, but at the same time, he has the greatest respect for the Supreme Lord. In the fourth stage, called Vatsalya Aarti, the fraternal affection of the preceding stage develops into parental affection. At this time, the living entity acts as the parent of God. Instead of worshiping the Lord, the living entity, as a parent of the Supreme Person, becomes an object of worship for him. At this stage, the Lord depends on the mercy of his pure devotee and puts himself under the control of the devotee to be raised nicely. Such a devotee can embrace the Supreme Lord and even kiss his head. In the fifth stage, called Madhurya Aarti, there is a transcendental exchange of conjugal love between the lover and the beloved. It is at this stage that Krishna and the damsels of Raja glanced lovingly at one another, for on this platform there is an exchange of glances, movements of the eyebrows, pleasant words, attractive smiles, etc. Besides these 5 primary rasas, there are 11 secondary rasas. Okay, the children have to be quiet, please. In the fifth stage, called Madhurya Aarti, there is a transcendental exchange of conjugal love between the lover and the beloved. It is at this stage that Krishna and the damsels of Raja, or the gopis, glanced lovingly at one another, for on this platform there is an exchange of glances at one another, for on this platform there is an exchange of glances, movements of the eyebrows, pleasant words, attractive smiles, etc. Besides these 5 primary rasas, there are 7 secondary rasas, which consists of laughing, wonder, chivalry, pity, anger, ghastliness, and devastation. For example, Bhisma related to Krishna as a warrior in the chivalrous rasa. Hiranyakashipu, however, experienced an exchange of the ghastly and devastating rasa. The 5 primary rasas constantly remain within the heart of the pure devotee, and the 7 secondary rasas sometimes appear and disappear to enrich the flavors and tastes of the primary rasas. After enriching the primary rasas, they disappear. Examples of Santa Bhaktas, or devotees in the neutral stage, are the 9 yogendras, namely Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabhuda, Pipalayana, Aviruta, Dravida, and Kamasa, and Karabhajana. The 4 Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanatana, are also examples of this stage. Examples of devotees in the second stage, servitorship, are Raktaka, Chitraka, and Patraka. These are all servants of Krishna in Goloka. In Dwarka, there is Daruka, and in the Vaikuntha planets, there are Hanuman and others. Devotees in the third stage, friendship, include Sridhama in Vrindavana and Bhima and Arjuna in Dwarka, or on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. As for those relating to Krishna in paternal love, they include his mother, father, uncle, and similar relatives. In conjugal love, there are the damsels of Raja, the Vrindavani, the queens in Dwarka, and the goddesses of fortune in Vaikuntha. No one can count the vast number of devotees in this rasa. So, in other words, there are millions of different ways of being related to Krishna. And this is just giving us a quick, let's say, vignette or vision into all these wonderful ways of having relationships with Krishna. In general, attachment to Krishna is of 2 kinds. The first kind is attachment with awe and veneration, characterized by a lack of freedom. Such attachment is exhibited in Mathura and on the Vaikuntha planets. In these abodes of the Lord, the flavor of transcendental loving service is restricted. But in Gokula, or Vrindavana, love is freely exchanged. And although the cowherd boys and damsels of Vrindavana know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they do not show awe and veneration because of the great intimacy of their relationship with him. Through thick and thin, in the 5 principal transcendental relationships, awe and veneration are sometimes impediments to one's service to the Lord. When there is friendship, parental affection, or conjugal love, such awe and veneration are impediments. For example, when Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, they prayed to the Lord with awe and veneration because they understood that the Supreme Lord Krishna, or Vishnu, had appeared before them as their little child. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Devaki and Vasudeva, knowing their son to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, began to pray to him, although he was present before them as their child. Similarly, when Arjuna saw the universal form of the Lord, he was so afraid that he begged pardon for his dealings with Krishna as an intimate friend. As a friend, Arjuna often behaved unceremoniously with the Lord, and upon seeing the some universal form, by seeing the awesome universal form, Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, sometimes I insulted you by calling you my dear friend Krishna, without knowing the greatness of your inconceivable power. Please forgive me. I was mad to address you like a common friend or a common man." Similarly, when Krishna was playing jokes on Rukmini, she feared that he might leave her and become so perturbed that she dropped the fan with which she was fanning Krishna and fainted, falling unconscious to the floor. As her hair scattered, she resembled a plantain tree blown down by a blast of wind. But as far as Yasoda, Krishna's mother in Vrindavana, is concerned, Mother Yasoda thought that the personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by all the Vedas and Upanishads, as well as by the Sakya system of philosophy and all authorized scriptures, had been born from her womb. It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that Mother Yasoda bound the child Krishna with a rope as if he were an ordinary son born of her body. Another description of Krishna being treated as an ordinary person appears in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There it is stated that when Krishna was defeated in games with his friends, the cowherd boys, he had to carry Sridama on his shoulders. Regarding the gopis, dealing with Sri Krishna in Vrindavana, it is described how when Sri Krishna took Srimati Radharani alone from the rasa dance, she proudly thought, "My dear Lord Krishna has left the other gopis, although they are as beautiful as I am, and he is satisfied with me alone." In the forest, she told Krishna, "My dear Krishna, I am unable to move anymore. Now, if you like, you can take me wherever you desire." Krishna replied, "You can climb on my shoulder." But as soon as he said this, he disappeared, whereupon Srimati Radhika repented very much. When Krishna disappeared from the scene of the rasa dance, all the gopis began to lament, saying, "Dear Krishna, we have come here and left aside our husbands, sons, relatives, brothers, and friends. Neglecting their advice, we have come to you, and you know very well the reason for our coming here. You know that we have come because we are captivated by the sweet sound of your flute. But you are so cunning that in the dead of night you have left girls and women like us. This is not very good for you." The word sama means controlling the mind and keeping it from being diverted into various ways while fixing it on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, one whose mind is fixed on the Supreme Lord is situated on the sama platform, On that platform, the devotee understands that Krishna is the basic principle of everything within our experience. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. After many, many births of cultivating knowledge, one who has attained real knowledge surrenders unto Vasudeva Krishna because he can understand that Krishna is present in everything, that Krishna is distributed all over the cosmic manifestation. Although everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord and is situated in his energy, everything is nonetheless different from him or from Krishna in his personal form. It is stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that the platform of Sama, on which one understands that Krishna is the basic principle of everything, is the same as Santarati. Unless one is elevated to the platform of Santarati, one cannot be fixed in knowledge of the greatness of Krishna or of the diffusion of his different energies, which are the cause of all manifestations. This same point is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. One second. Sama, or equilibrium of mind, is achieved by one who has concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of everything. And when one can control his senses, that is called Dhamma. When one is ready to tolerate all kinds of sufferings, to control the senses and keep the mind steady, that is called Titiksha, or tolerance. And when one can control the urges of the tongue and genitals, that is called Dhriti. One who has attained Dhriti is a dhira, a pacified person. A pacified person is never disturbed by the urges of the tongue and genitals. One who can fix his mind on Krishna without deviation attains Santarasa, the steadfast position in Krishna consciousness. One in Santarasa exhibits two main qualities: unflinching faith in Krishna and the cessation of all material desires. These specific characteristics of Santarasa, unflinching faith in Krishna, and cessation of all desires not connected with Krishna, are common to all other rasas as well. Just as sound is present not only in sky, where it is produced, but also in all the other elements, air, fire, water, and earth. So, these two characteristics of Santa Rasa are also present in Dasya Rasa, servitorship, Sakya Rasa, fraternity, Vatsalya Rasa, parental affection, and Madhurya Rasa, conjugal love. When we speak of desires not connected with Krishna or non-Krishna, this does not mean that anything exists without Krishna. Actually, there cannot be anything non-Krishna, because everything is a product of the energy of Krishna. Since Krishna and his energies are identical, everything is Krishna indirectly. For example, consciousness solely on Krishna, or Krishna consciousness, is pure. And when consciousness is centered on something other than Krishna, or when it is directed to sense gratification, it may be called not Krishna consciousness. Thus, it is in the polluted state that the conception of non-Krishna comes. In the pure state, however, there is nothing but Krishna consciousness. active interest in Krishna, the understanding that Krishna is mine and that I am Krishna's, and that my business is therefore to satisfy the senses of Krishna, is typical of a higher stage than the neutrality of Santarasa. Similarly, by understanding the greatness of Krishna, one achieves the status of Santarasa, in which the worshipable object may be the impersonal Brahman or Paramatma. Worship of impersonal Brahman and the Paramatma is conducted by those engaged in empiric philosophical speculation and mystic yoga. But when one develops even further in Krishna consciousness or spiritual understanding, he can appreciate that the Paramatma, the Supersoul, is his eternal worshipable object and master, and he surrenders unto him, meaning Krishna. Bahunam janmanamante gyanavam mam prapadyante. After many, many births of worshiping Brahman and Paramatma, when one surrenders unto Vasudeva, or Krishna, as the Supreme Master and accepts himself as the eternal servant of Vasudeva, or Krishna, he becomes a great transcendentally realized soul. At that time, due to his intimate relationship with the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, the devotee begins to render some sort of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, the neutral relationship known as Santarasa is transformed into Dasya Rasa, or servitorship. So that's where we are right now, in Dasya Rasa. We are engaged in devotional service to Krishna. Okay, so let me just read a little bit more and then we'll start. On the platform of Dasya Rasa, one exhibits the greatest quantity of awe and veneration for the Supreme Lord. That is, in Dasya Rasa, one appreciates the greatness of the Supreme Lord. It should be noted here that on the platform of Santarasa, there is no spiritual activity, but on the platform of Dasya Rasa, service begins. Thus, in Dasya Rasa, the quality of Santarasa is exhibited, and in addition, there is consciousness of the transcendental taste of service. In Sakya Rasa, fraternity, the transcendental qualities of Santa Rasa and Dasya Rasa are certainly present. But beyond these, there is another quality, confidential attachment, which is pure transcendental love. This confidential attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is technically known as Vishramba. On the platform of Vishramba, there is no sense of awe or veneration toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, in the transcendental fraternal relationship, Sakya Rasa, there are three transcendental characteristics: the sense of greatness, the sense of service, and the sense of intimacy, without awe or veneration. Thus, Sakya Rasa adds one transcendental quality to the qualities of Santa and Dasya Rasa. Similarly, on the platform of parental affection, Vatsalya Rasa, there are four qualities. In addition to the three qualities already mentioned, there is the sense that the Supreme Lord is dependent on the mercy of the devotee. As a parent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee sometimes chastises the Lord and considers himself the Lord's maintainer. This transcendental sense of being the maintainer of the Supreme Maintainer is very pleasing to both the devotee and the Supreme Lord. The Lord instructed Srila Rupa Goswami to write the transcendental literature named Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the science of devotional service, and indicate therein the substance of the five transcendental relationships with the Lord: Santa, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya Rasa. It is explained in that great literature how the transcendental relationship of Santa Rasa, taking the shape of unflinching faith in Krishna, is further developed into Dasya Rasa with the spirit of service, and then to Sakya Rasa, or undeterred fraternity, and further to the transcendental platform of parental love, wherein one feels himself to be maintaining that Lord. All these transcendental relationships culminate in the highest platform, conjugal love, or Madhurya Rasa, wherein they all exhibit simultaneously Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is very confidential knowledge. Not everybody's interested in hearing this. But if you do develop a taste for hearing this, you become purified and you will dedicate your whole life to serving Krishna. Why? Because there's no sense gratification involved in this taste of serving Krishna with love and devotion. So that's why it's important to, one, associate with genuine devotees. Two, hear lectures given by genuine devotees who are simply repeating what Srila Prabhupada has written in his wonderful purports. Gradually, as we develop that taste for hearing about Prabhupada's wonderful purports, we go deeper and deeper into the appreciation of Krishna consciousness and of Srila Prabhupada and of the determination to make more and more spiritual advancement by surrendering ourselves through devotional service and engaging always in chanting, dancing, and feasting with the devotees. That means that we have become Krishnized. Haribol. Okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Yeah. Yeah. You have, it has to be under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. You can't do it on your own. Yeah. You need the help of a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, we can, go off on a tangent by ourselves and not know that it's a tangent, thinking that we're doing the right thing. But after many years, we'll realize we went off on the wrong direction because we don't have the intimate relationship with a bona fide spiritual master, or masters. Yeah. Through service, seva. Seva will save you. You engage in service to bona fide devotees. Yeah. Haribol. What? Yes. Yeah. Well, sometimes they grow much better, much faster than, you know, if you have a garden, you'll see that the weeds oftentimes grow faster than what you're trying to grow. So, what you have to do is stop the weeds when they're still very young. You see, if you wait till they go, you know, till they get bigger and bigger than the Krishna consciousness, then you're going to have a very difficult time. So the uh, good person who has a farm, he cuts the weeds when they're very small. He clips them. He stops them. He doesn't wait till they become bigger than what he's trying to grow. So, therefore, that means that if you want to have a very nice garden with no weeds, you have to be watching every day. And every day you go weeding. Take out the unnecessary weeds and protect the, the vegetables or whatever it is that you're growing. If you don't do that, eventually the weeds will suffocate what you're trying to grow, and you'll end up with just a lot of weeds. That happens a lot. Let's say you go on a vacation for 2 weeks or a month, and you come back and you say, you don't even see the weeds. You don't even see what you planted anymore. The weeds have taken over, So we have to be like a very, very expert farmer who always takes out the weeds and protects the good plants. Then they'll grow and not be inhibited. Otherwise, the weeds will take over. So that's why a good farmer every day goes out and takes a look at what's going on in the farm. Make sure that no weeds are taking over. And when he sees some weeds, immediately he takes them out. Especially when they're still young. When they get older, it's more difficult to get rid of the weeds. But if you know how to get them in their early state, then eventually the weeds give up. Also, a good farmer who doesn't want to be, vigilant every day about getting rid of the weeds, he will, first of all, plant his seeds in good earth, and then water it, and then cover it with a type of cloth, and then puncture the cloth so that, and that's where he puts his seed, right? And that is like a way of controlling the weeds, because the weeds sometimes will grow, even though there's a cloth on it to protect the good plant that you've planted. The weeds sometimes come up also, but you'll be able to take them out quickly. So, there are different techniques of how to protect your plants from the weeds. But it requires looking every day. You have to be very vigilant to have a beautiful garden. So in the same way, we have to be very careful what we're hearing, what we're eating, who we're associating with. those are all weeds. And we should not be associating with those, unholy persons. That'll kill our plant of love of Krishna. All you have to do is just associate a little bit with non-devotees. You get contaminated right away. So those non-devotees who use bad language and are always thinking of nonsense things, very quickly they can basically kill your enthusiasm to be Krishna conscious. So we should not associate with non-devotees. The way you represent, the way that you understand who is a devotee, who is not a devotee does not associate with non-devotees. That means you can associate with that person. Yeah. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada did not associate with non-devotees. He might talk to them to try and convince them to become devotees, but he would not be, like, oh, I would like to, go to movies with you. No, Prabhupada was not interested in going to see a movie or this or that. He was always focused on Krishna. Thank you very much. Yeah.
When Prabhupada was basically he was traveling a lot.
Yeah.
So how you were writing letters to him, where, what was the address? How do you know that he is at what place?
Yeah. Well, obviously, the devotees. There was a program that when Prabhupada would leave a temple, and then some letter would come from Prabhupada. Well, they would just send it to the next place where Prabhupada was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Prabhupada did not stay only one day somewhere and then go somewhere else. He would stay, 3 days or sometimes a week or even longer.
So the letters will just keep on following him.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay, Hari Bol. Where's the Prabhupada? Ki jai. Let me give that to the lady. Yeah. Hare Krishna. I'm going to put this back somewhere.
Yeah.